Good morning, everyone. This video is going to be a little difficult for a lot of people to hear, but it needs to be spoken, and it needs to be spoken by me. I want to first start off by thanking Margaret Zakarian for reminding me that drinking and driving is a no-no. And I'm going to explain what that's all about. Roberta and I today, well, yesterday, I should say, it's after midnight, sat down and had a conversation. And we decided that we would take the next step in our friendship. And we officially decided to be a couple. With that comes a lot of responsibility on both our behalfs. She is a professional law clerk at a well-known law firm in the city of Bangor. And I have employment now working as a heavy-duty mechanic as well as plowing. So we both decided that where we both now have professional careers, that it would be a good time to settle down. And that brings me to this video. Again, some people on my Facebook friends list probably are going to be a little upset at what I'm about to say, but I want it to come from me, and I want people to understand that this is the way it has to be. This is not only the way it has to be, it's the way it's going to be. I don't mean no disrespect to anybody. I don't mean any harm to anyone. But this concerns the future. And the future right now is looking extremely well. Let me start off by answering a couple questions from several people who's requested to know what happened between Ashley and myself. The only way I can explain this, and I'm not going to slander Ashley in the process. She doesn't deserve that. But I am going to be completely candid and honest in both aspects. Number one, for the past 13 months, I've set my life literally aside, fighting for Ashley Austin and our baby girl. For 13 months, I had no idea whatsoever what became of Ashley. And I traveled very extensively over the course of that 13 months, to which I ended up in jail twice as a result of that. I'm just going to light a cigarette here. It helps calm my nerves. For 13 months, I set myself, my entire life aside, looking and fighting for Ashley and our baby girl. I traveled from Maine to Virginia several times, up into New York, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Washington, D.C., Maryland. I went as far as Montgomery, Alabama, and I went to Tuscarawas County, New Philadelphia, Ohio. I went to Akron, Ohio, Canton, Ohio. I traveled throughout southern Maine, all looking for Ashley, looking for answers, trying to find out how our baby daughter was progressing, how she was developing. And I spent a huge amount of funds that I could not afford to spend at the time. I took out several loans with many different friends. And I basically wore myself down to the point where I had a loaded gun to my forehead. I don't hide that fact. And many of my friends can testify that that is actually the truth. When I contacted several attorneys, I was given bits and pieces of information that did and did not make sense. And a lot of it led me in directions that ended up being false. But some of it ended up taking me to places that I was able to obtain certain bits and pieces of information that went together like a puzzle. To make a long story short on that aspect, a while ago, Ashley did in fact contact me after I contacted her, and we started talking about our daughter, and we started talking about us. And Ashley clearly stated that she loved me still, that she wasn't done with me, and that she liked Virginia and she wanted to stay there and wanted me to come down to her. To which I had started on my trip down there. When I got as far as New York, a certain member of my family noticed something that I failed to notice. On her profile, it said she was in a relationship with Mr. Thornton. And I found that to be a little bit of information that I should have been told. But being the circumstances, I wasn't. And ultimately, it ended up in me returning to the state of Maine, to which I'm here still. Ashley tells me and told me that she still loves me and wasn't done with me. But yet at the same time, sleeping with other people and staying with other people. She lied to me by telling me she was staying in the woods, that she was homeless, to which proved to be untrue. She wanted me to meet her at the library instead of being around the person she was actually in a relationship with. So as you can see, there was a lot of issues that took place that really led up to what this video is all about. Here I am in a motel a long ways from Bangor. I'm with Roberta, who is taking a shower, and we officially agreed that we are now a couple. We've known each other for a while. We've been friends for quite some time. And we decided it was time to put the past away and to move forward. And that's one of the hardest steps that I've had to take, but it's steps that need to be taken, and it's steps that are being taken. I'm going to explain as best as I can, again, without slandering or ridiculing Ashley. But I finally found somebody who accepts me for who I am. I'm not being judged for my past. I'm not being judged for the things I've done and said. I'm not being considered a monster. Back in my younger days, especially in the state of New York, I went through things that most people probably wouldn't understand. And I'm not saying that I'm different than anybody. I'm not saying that the horrors I went through that nobody else went through. I mean, obviously, people have gone through much worse than me. But what I am saying is people have judged me without knowing the facts. I want to point out something that stands out more than anything at all. I've always been a loner because of the bullshit that happened to me as a kid. Most people already know that I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York, and I was literally thrown away by my own family. I was beaten on a daily basis by my father. I was allowed to be raped. Um, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you're a male. How can a male be raped? Well, let me just spell it out for you. When you're a 7-year-old boy walking the streets of the Bronx because your family kicked you out, and people drive up in a van, four guys, and they throw you in the back of the van and beat you almost unconscious, and then anally rape you and force you to perform oral sex on them and beat you for fighting back. Yeah, it's very possible for a male to be raped. As a child, a 7-year-old kid, I was petrified. Every time I was raped, I tried to defend myself and I was beaten almost to death. So, as you can imagine, I have a very unique perspective of what it is to be a male being raped. And for those that think it doesn't happen, I'm a living survivor to verify otherwise. Um, I was locked in the basements of my father's associates, and I was not allowed to be seen because of his clientele. I was literally at my seventh birthday standing in front of my dad, and I said, Dad, can I open my birthday presents? And he said, yes. So he stood up, walked over, stood over me, smiled, looked at me, said, I love you, son. And he broke my friggin' jaw in 7 places. So as you can see, I understand what it is to be beaten as a child. As I grew older, not much older, but as I grew older, I ultimately ran away from home and I never went back. The pain, the anger, the hurt, and the frustration went with me. And the things I did on the streets reflected that. I became what my father was. But here's the story. And whether you choose to believe it or not is your own business. I will not judge you if you think I'm lying. I don't blame you. Because had it not happened to me, I would call myself a liar. I started traveling the country. And again, like I said earlier, I was always a loner because I didn't trust people. Girlfriends, I didn't know what a girlfriend was. I knew what sex partners were. I didn't know what a girlfriend was. I had no idea. Intimacy? My form of intimacy was hopping in a bed somewhere or in an alleyway or in some old run-down building, having sex, and walking away. To me, that was intimacy because I didn't know what intimacy was. Safety. Go to the underground, New York. Live there for 17 months. And tell me what safety is. Safety is when you actually go to sleep with your eyes open. Safety is when you carry a blade on you. Safety is when you don't trust anyone that's breathing. I have a unique perspective now what it is to be safe. Drinking and drugs. Let me be honest here. I turned to alcohol to kill the pain. I turned to drugs to kill the pain that caused the pain. Did I steal? Oh, yes. I go into stores and steal because I was hungry. I go to clothing stores and put shoes on my feet and walk out because I had nothing on my feet. I go to old ladies' homes and I'd wait until they had food and I'd sneak into the kitchen and I'd steal sandwiches because I was just a little kid and I was hungry. Did I lie and manipulate people? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I conned people into helping me because nobody else would. So I go to these truck stops and I'd say, yeah, my dad's out in the big rig. You know, he's sleeping, he's tired. We've been on the road for days. I was wondering if I could get a sandwich. My dad will pay for it when he comes in. Of course, being the truck owners, sometimes they'd help. Sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes I'd have to perform sexual favors for a simple bologna and cheese sandwich. But as a hungry kid, you do it, though. And I'll say that again. As a hungry kid, you do so. So I'm not without blemish. I'm not without sin. An angel? Hell no. I never professed to be an angel. But here's the secret to that. That woman in the shower right now, Roberta Andrews. You want to know something? She's my angel. Because she did something that no one else has ever been able to do. She gained my trust. I intentionally put information out there that could have been used against me, to judge me. She never judged me. She could have, but she didn't. I left a large sum of money laying on the table, and I went downtown. I knew exactly how much was there. You want to know something? When I came back 4 hours later, every single penny was there. She never stole from me. I opened up my Facebook and I allowed my Facebook profile to be right there. She can go through it anytime she wanted, snoop around, see who was on my friends list, see what I was posting, see who I was talking to. But she didn't. She actually turned my phone off. So I now know that she is an angel. She's my angel. Now let's get to another issue that some people don't want to know about. Some people don't want to talk about. Some people want to hide from. I did prison time. I guess a lot of people don't know that by now. But I did hard time, prison time. Not only in Thomaston, Maine, before they closed the old dungeon prison, but also in New York and Sullivan Correctional Facility. I did time in Georgia, Ringgold, Georgia, Catoosa County. I did time in Tuscarawas County, Ohio. I did time in Concord, New Hampshire, Merrimack County. When I was growing up, I was in and out of jail because I was a little lion thief. I was a punk. Because that's the lifestyle I was introduced to as a little teeny kid. Have I ever stabbed anybody in jail? Of course I have. I don't hide that. You make what's called a shank or a skiff. And you defend yourself. A little white boy in New York prison, you don't survive too long unless you learn how to fight. When I was in the Maine State Prison, Thomaston, my roommate was James Rodney Hicks, Maine's most infamous serial killer. He'd strangle his victims and then dismember them. James Rodney Hicks. You can contact the prison system in Warren, Maine, and verify it. To this very day, him and I are very best friends. Because we both had a commonality. We both were rejected all our lives. Does that make me a serial killer? No. It just simply means that I have a commonality with somebody. Something as a child I never thought I'd ever have. When I started traveling the United States, I ended up in Eureka, California. I met up with a lady by the name of Julia Butterfly Hill. She spent a long time in a redwood tree named Luna, protecting it from loggers. I guess you could say that the redwoods hold a very special memory to me. Because out there, I felt accepted among the trees. I know how that sounds. You think I'm a tree hugger. No, I'm not a tree hugger. But when you go to the Sequoia Forest and you lay down on the ground and look up between those redwood trees that seem to go for miles, you feel it. You feel it inside your spirit. That's something that kept me alive when I was traveling. I went to San Francisco, 300 Broadway, Earth Island Institute. At the time, her name was Brenda Killian. She was the director. She helped me a lot. Then I went to Tampa, Florida, Highway 301, Hillsborough County, for those that don't know that. And I went to the Unocal 76 truck stop, to which I worked as a busboy for almost a month. I got fired for stealing food. Then I went to Miami, Biscayne Boulevard. Got a job working at a car dealership, a very, very expensive car dealership. Not only did I get fired, I got arrested for taking one of their vehicles for a test drive. 3 o'clock in the morning. Then I went down to Key West, Florida, Whitehead Street. I got arrested there, stolen vehicle. So I did time in the Monroe County Jail, This is back in the 80s. If you research Alan Shane Robinson, date of birth 10/12/67, you can pull up my history free of charge. And you can see that everything that I just spoken is documented and verified. Now let me get to this video. Skip ahead a little bit. Roberta Michelle Andrews, 26 years old, legal law secretary. And myself, Alan Shane Robinson, 48, a mechanic and a snowplower. How did the two of us get together? We got together because down at McDonald's on Main Street in Bangor, I was sitting in there, homeless, tired, and scared, not knowing where I was going to go. She bought me a Big Mac, she bought me a small fry, and I don't remember what kind of soft drink it was. I think it was a Sprite. And she sat down beside me and she said, "Are you going to be okay?" And I said, "As soon as I eat this, I think I'm going to be just fine." She gave me $20 out of her own purse. She gave me a hug and said, "I'll be praying for you." She got up and smiled and walked away. On the back of that $20 bill, she drove a message to me. And what I mean by drove a message to me is she wrote something. 3 simple words. People do care. For a long time in my life, nobody cared. Hell, I don't even think I cared. But here's the facts. Roberta and I decided that we would take the next step. We became a couple officially yesterday. We've both been thinking about it for a while, especially since I realized that Ashley played me as a fool. I believed in Ashley, and I loved her. I would have given my life for her, and I almost did. Bangor Police Department Officer Russell Twaddell can verify that because he actually drove by when I had the gun to my head. And for those on my friends list who wish to verify that as well, all you have to do is contact the Bangor Police Department, Bangor, Maine, and ask for Officer Russell Twaddell and ask him about the incident. Instead of placing me under arrest, which he could have, he sat down beside me and talked to me. And his exact words, and I'll never forget them 1,000 years from today: "Nothing on earth is willing to take your life over, because tomorrow you can always work it out, or at least try." So I put the gun down. He took the gun, made sure it wasn't loaded, which, by the way, it was. Would I have actually pulled the trigger? To be honest with you, I really don't know. I'd like to sit here and tell you, no, I wouldn't have. Just wanted attention. But I think we all know that that may not be true. Let me skip ahead a little bit more. What is this video actually all about? It's about the future. Roberta and I have the opportunity to have an extraordinarily good future. Not only individually, but together. March 6th, I have a court hearing. A parental rights and custody hearing for my daughter, Fidelity Allen Austin, age 7 months right now. She and I are pooling our money together, and we're going to fight for custody. In other words, we're going to bring our daughter home. We are both financially stable, financially secure. We both have a steady income. We both have full-time jobs. My background, my past, is not a barrier. That's verified by 3 different courts. A little child in state care, growing up just like I did, bouncing from foster home to foster home, family to family, and not knowing who the hell really loves them. Well, that little girl is not going to have to go through that. It's nearly 30 minutes, so I'm going to check on Roberta and make sure she's okay. She likes long showers like I do, but a half hour is a little bit extreme. Oh, smokes. You okay? All right, I'm just checking. Man, it's hot in there. Where was I? Oh, yes, about a little girl. I'll relight my cigarette. Right now, the only thing that matters to me is not myself, not Roberta. And I don't mean that in a bad way towards myself or her. But there comes a time in people's lives when they have to make a priority. My priority is our daughter. Ashley Jane Austen, this part's for you. You've experimented with methamphetamine and you're still using. You've contacted Mike Waller, requested to be friends and hang out with him. And he's the person that literally put us on the streets in a deadly situation. You probably didn't think I know that, and I'm not going to explain how I know that. All I'm going to tell you is I know a hell of a lot more than you could possibly fathom. I know about our daughter. I know the day she was born, June 26, 2015. I know how much she weighed. I know how many inches she was long. I know her blood type. I know she was taken away the very same day, emergency placement. I know that Mr. Thornton has a criminal history. I know he did a year just recently. You might want to have the paperwork available as to why he left Indiana. You may not know this, but we do. You might want to check his criminal history. You might want to check the people he associated with, the activities he was involved in. You see, for a long time, Ashley, I pretended to be stupid because I didn't want you to think I was picking on you. I didn't want you to think that I was overstepping boundaries. So I played stupid. I didn't want to cause a problem. I didn't want to lose you. But the reality is, I knew a hell of a lot more than you could possibly fathom. The people you're associating with, you think they're good people to be around our daughter? You think Tim is actually somebody that the courts would trust around our daughter? You need a wake up call. And I'm going to give you that wake up call legally. You tell me you love me, but you're sleeping with other people. You tell me you want our daughter back, but you're using drugs. You tell me that you love me, but you want me to come down there to Roanoke, Virginia, because you don't want to separate from the people you associate with. You tell me you were sleeping in the woods, which you wasn't. You were sleeping in a room with a nice warm bed with somebody with you. You know, I had to make a decision. And that decision is I had to let you go. And it hurt. Does it still hurt? Yes. Here's what I need to tell you, Ashley. And then I'm going to end this video on a good note. But I need to tell you this, which is on a bad note. I believed in you. I trusted you. I trusted you with our very daughter. I trusted you with that little girl's future. And I trusted that the words you spoke to me were real. I gave up over a year of my life for you. I went through a fucking living hell fighting for you. And you threw it back in my face like I'm a fucking disease. And then you wouldn't even talk to me. And I asked you so many very important, relevant questions concerning our baby girl. And you wouldn't even talk to me. And you want to know why I'm so full of anger and hurt. And you want to know why I deleted you from my friends list? Because I can't take any more of the bullshit. Everybody warned me of how people like you are. You say one thing and do 100% the opposite. And I didn't want to believe that. I didn't want to believe that. I wanted to believe that the words you spoke were true. But you bullshitted me. You used me. You lied to me. And you manipulated me. And I believed it. In my heart, I believed it. And I loved you. I would have given my life for you. And I almost did on a couple occasions. But Roberta helped me wake up. She helped me open my eyes by pointing out things that I didn't see before. Discrepancies in your statements. Outright lies. Deceit. And then abandonment. You remember, kiddo. You remember this. You walked away from me. I didn't walk away from you. Until yesterday. I finally put my foot down. And I said, enough's enough. And I walked away. I let you go. You got your wish. You no longer have to worry about me. You don't have to worry about checking into your messenger to see what I'm posting online. You don't have to worry about my videos, or whether or not I'm going to break down crying in them. You don't have to worry about me saying I love you anymore. In my heart, there is a place that I love you, but not in the way I did. I'm letting you go because you've already let me go. You threw me away. You walked away. There's an old saying that I'm going to say on this video. And if it hurts you, I'm sorry, sweetheart. But you burned the bridges that you ultimately have to cross. Once you burn those bridges, you can't repair them. What I'm saying is, no matter what happens in the future, you will not be part of my future. You made the bed that you're laying in. I hope it's a soft one. This will absolutely be the last time that I discuss you in any video. Because for the first time, I'm walking away and letting you do what you want to do. But just be aware that March 6th is going to begin a very serious battle. I'm going to give you a clue of something that I shouldn't, but out of respect for you as our daughter's mom, I'm going to. You better get yourself clean before now and then. Because all the money that I've spent based on you requesting me, and I have the notes, to never stop fighting for you, that's called a contract, whether you believe it or not. I am filing a suit to recompensate the funds that I've spent. It's called a written contract because I still have your own handwriting. The very notes that you wrote to me begging me while we were on our way to Virginia and while we were there to never stop fighting for each other. To always try to find you. To never throw our love away. It's called a contract. because you wrote your signature. I am filing suit. Recompensation for $17,590. And with the aid of certain attorneys, I intend to win. Get your blood clean, because I'm going to verify you are an unfit mother for our child. You want to use methamphetamine, that's your business. But it won't be around our daughter or any other child. We verified through the Commonwealth of Virginia Employment Division that you can't even obtain a job. You'd rather smoke weed, drink meth. Again, that's going to follow you for many years. And I'm going to be the person behind it. What you've done to me is inexcusable. But what you've done to our daughter, that's the worst. You had the opportunity to get your life in order and be a mom. But we know what happens. And we know what happened. I researched through the Commonwealth of Virginia and found out that you spent some time at the Roanoke Rescue Mission. So you see, I do know more information than you ever possibly could fathom. I know more than you could understand. And it's all documented. This video is my way of saying goodbye, Ashley. That for once, I'm doing what needs to be done for me. But more so for our daughter. Soon to be my daughter. You gave up the right to be a part of her life when you refused to walk away from drugs. It'll be a cold day in hell before I allow you to have custody of any child. Because you're an endangerment. Drugs must never be used around children. You want to be a meth head? Be my guest. Can't stop you. But when it comes to a child, especially our daughter, soon to be my daughter, I will stop you. Save this video for the courts. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Save this video for the courts. Don't delete it. Don't alter it. Present it to the Commonwealth. Because if anything I've said on here violates your rights, you have the right to sue. But we both know the answer to that. As far as the love that I had for you, you threw that away because you threw me away. You remember something, Ashley. Remember this and remember this well. You walked away from me. I didn't walk away from you. I once loved you with more heart than I ever knew. I loved you to the point where I would have died for you. I loved you, babe. I loved you, and you threw it away. Never again. Never again.